What up, y'all? On today's episode, we have my boy Jose Mangandi. I met Jose when I moved back to DC in the summer of 2019, about a year ago, and we started working together at Equinox. Jose's 22 years old, man. Right when I met this kid, he had just graduated from college, and when I learned that fact, I was shocked. I didn't learn that fact until, I guess, a couple weeks after I met him. I assumed this guy was a fully functioning, high-functioning grown man, but I guess technically he's a grown man, but he's a kid who just graduated college, and within our Equinox personal training cohort, about 25 of us, he was the shining star. He outperformed all of us in terms of our knowledge base, his investment in the job, his passion for the job. I'm racking my brain now, but quite frankly, I think the dude was just the best personal trainer of all of us. And Equinox is kind of the pinnacle of the personal training industry. And this guy at 22, just graduating college, was the best of all of us. He's an incredibly impressive dude. All that being said, he's accomplished and is that person despite pretty challenging upbringing. He gets into it, man. But Jose wasn't born in this country. His journey to this country is a pretty fucking remarkable one, and his establishment as a member of this American society, certainly wasn't a smooth path. The shit he has accomplished, given his background and things he's overcome, is nothing short of remarkable. I respect the fuck out of this dude. It's a shame I didn't get to spend more time with him. I guess like all these, like Jonathan last week, and then our guest next week, all of whom I met at Equinox. My relationship with these people only lasted 5 or 6 months, and I hope to whatever greater powers that be that Jose and I get to rekindle our relationship in the future. Guy's incredibly impressive dude, and not just as a fitness professional, but just as a human being. And hopefully you get a taste of that, or you will get a taste of that in this interview. So here's my boy Jose Mangandi.
All right, you ready to tell your life story, bro?
Yeah, dude. So, all started in 1997.
Is that when you were born, for real?
Yeah, 97.
1997. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was 88.
September 15th. You were 88? No way.
Yeah.
Dude, what? So you're like, you're 11 years older than I?
You're 97? No, I'm 9.
9. What the fuck? I can't do math.
88 to 97? 9.
7, 8.
88 to 97.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, when I was born, you were 9 years old.
No, when you were born, I was in 4th. Well, what month were you born? September 97. Yeah, I was in 4th grade. That was the first year I ever watched football. September what?
15th.
Yeah, that's probably like week 2.
Yeah, of the NFL season.
I think the first game I watched was week 1, 1997. Vikings-Bills, I think was the game.
So...
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, tell me the story. So where were you born?
97, El Salvador...
September 15th. Isn't that, didn't we talk about this? Isn't that like Bolivarian?
That's pretty much Central American Independence Day. Yeah. Central American Independence Day. From what I heard from my mom, she was doing some sort of shopping or some sort of market. I don't know what the fuck she was doing, but she was somewhere, and shit just happened, and it wasn't meant to happen for like another 2 weeks. So yeah, she said I was born at 13 pounds, which I think is insane. Yeah. It's pretty fat.
No way.
Yeah, dude. I don't have like proof, but I mean, she said I believe her. Like,
right.
I don't know why she would lie. So,
unless it was kilograms,
but 13 kilograms would be more than pounds.
Would it be more than pounds?
2.2 pounds a kilo.
No, so 13.
Yeah, 13 kilograms would be like fucking 40.
I mean, it's possible. It's not outrageous.
Pounds.
I was 10, and I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
Or from what I've heard, that's huge. I don't have any extensive infant experience.
So,
damn.
Yeah, I mean...
And you were born in El Salvador?
Yeah.
You were probably the biggest baby born in El Salvador in like a decade.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah, so... shortly after I was born, my parents came to the United States, probably like 98.
Okay.
That's when they started to give out temporary protected status.
It was just for El Salvador, right?
Well, it was for a few countries,
okay.
but it had just begun.
Okay.
Like 98 was the year it had just begun. So my parents came to the States illegally, but because that was a thing, they kind of like retroactively applied for that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they also applied for me and my older sister. Uh-huh. So they managed to get us social security numbers.
Oh shit!
And these temporary protective status documents. Uh-huh. So once we came into the States, we still came in illegally. Mm-hmm. We didn't come in like in a plane or fucking like drove through the ports or whatever. We still came illegally. But once we got here, it looked like as if we had been here for
on paper,
on paper for a while. So I was like, okay, that was a pretty smart move.
Wasn't there an earthquake in El Salvador at one point?
Yeah.
What year was that?
The Civil War was kind of, I think, the driver for that. 98. There was like a late 80s to early 90s. It was like a big Civil War in El Salvador.
And that's why there's so many Salvadorans in D.C., right?
Yeah, Civil War, and then like the remains of that is just shit, and then a lot of the gangs kind of took over because it was a political civil war, right. So if both of them just tear each other down, then it's like, who the fuck's gonna be in charge?
Right.
Gangs were like, all right, cool, we're in charge now.
Yeah.
So then it was pretty bad. Up until recently, the new president has really been like hammering down on the gangs. I have no idea how the fuck he's doing it, not getting assassinated, but that's his business.
Yeah, I lived in Honduras in 2000. I lived there. First time I went there was 2011, and then I lived there for like a year in 2013, 2014. But in 2009, they had a coup. And so the same thing, there's no government.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to step into this power vacuum?
Exactly.
Fucking organized crime.
Yeah.
It's a disaster, dude.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So, I mean, El Salvador is still to this, I guess you're saying maybe in like the last year or two it's gotten better? I remember when I was down
recently, like months.
Right. And in the last several years, El Salvador I know was really bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't been back. Only reason I would like to go back is to see my grandparents. But I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, what family's still there? All of your grandparents on both sides?
My mom's side. Right. My dad's side, both my grandma and grandpa are dead. But I haven't seen either grandparents since I was like 4 years old. Right. So to me,
you were a year when you left.
Huh?
You're like a year old when you left?
No, I was 3.
Oh, okay. I think you said 98.
They came here in 98.
Oh, you stayed for a couple years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I entered the country in like 2000.
Who'd you come with?
My older sister.
Just you and her?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's hear the story. Tell us
I don't remember much of it. That's the crazy part. Well,
I wish, anything of it?
I wish I did. I know that along the way I turned 4. We had like some sort of like chocolate cake.
What?
Yeah, it was like it's like some person's house. I have no idea who this person is. You know, so like we're kind of just. I'm assuming that we're driving in the back of this fucking pickup truck through Mexico, and
this is the image you have in your head.
Yeah, it's the image I have in my head. It's just like driving through Mexico,
and there's a chocolate cake in your lap,
a green Toyota Tacoma with the bed. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, we crossed over. I don't honestly remember anything. We got dropped off in California. Mm-hmm. So my parents lived in D.C. at the time. They lived like close to here. I think it was northeast.
Did they go straight to D.C.? El Salvador to D.C.? From what you know?
I think they went to Texas and then D.C. Okay. Probably, yeah.
Right.
They picked me and my sister up in Los Angeles. Drove there
from
DC.
Whoa,
it's like a week drive,
right?
Literally like 7 days,
right?
And then drove back.
Wow.
Yeah, and took us to DC, and I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Like as a 5-year-old.
How old was your sister?
She's 7. She's 2 years older than I am.
So she was 5 when you crossed?
No, I turned. She was 6 then because I turned 4. She was 6.
Right.
So she was 2 years older than I am. So
wow.
She could probably speak like coherently. I was like,
right,
kind of still like trying to figure shit out.
Wow.
But we only knew Spanish. When we got here, we both got put right away in school because we were the ages, right? We went through ESOL,
And I think she had a hard time adopting to this new kind of like life, because everything's in English, everything's different, and it's like these two random people in our lives are like, we're your parents, like, listen to what we say. And I was like, where the fuck have you been? Like, it's like, like what are you talking about? Like, you know, my mom says that I used to tell her all the time that she wasn't actually my mom, but that my grandma was my mom. Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then, you know, I don't know, just adopting to American culture. I mean, I literally came at the perfect age to hop right into the American education system. Yeah. I went to pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade here in DC. Over there I went to Brooklyn Elementary School. That is, what's that street? It's not Irving. It's I'm trying to think. Man, you know Brooklyn where that bridge is? Mm-hmm. Do you? Not on the side of the Catholic school, but on the other side of the bridge. Mm-hmm. It's like near there.
Is it elementary school?
Yeah. Now I think they tore it down. They built like a middle/high school thing, like a whatever you call those, like a.
It was DCPS.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, and it was shit. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucked. The teachers were pretty bad. The environments were pretty, like the conditions, the levels to which the building was maintained was pretty bad.
Did y'all must have lived in DC then? In the city?
We lived in Irving, on Irving Street, which was kind of like a 10-15 minute away from school. Yeah, and the reason we lived there is because my parents were living in a subsidized housing program named Mary House.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then full circle, I'm living with them again right now.
In Mary House?
Yeah.
In the same thing? Is it in DC?
No, it's not in DC, but kinda. So yeah,
Mary's
so full circle.
Mary's. That's like a big organization, right? I think.
Yeah, they're pretty huge.
They do like medical services, I think. No.
Are you thinking Mary Center?
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm thinking of.
Exactly. So Mary Center is where my mom met Sharon Murphy, which is one of the owners of Mary House. Well, her and her husband are the owners of it. And then Sharon, according to what she told me, went over to where we were living previously, saw our conditions, and was like, "That's shit. Like, you have to like live somewhere like better." Like, she said there was like mold on the walls and like, you know, just like.
In the neighborhood y'all are living in the Irving Street place. House.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mom met Sharon through Mary Center, because that's where you go to get like cheap, you know,
health services
and shit, right? So then we moved into Mary House, which was on Irving Street, and that place still exists today. And over the summer, I was working for them and like maintaining the properties and just like cutting grass and shit. And it's just so crazy to go back to that place and see that. And it's like, I really spent a chunk of my life here.
How long?
So from like probably 4 to 8, so like 4 years.
Okay.
So it was like
early,
definitely like
early,
you know, to the point where I remember. Yeah,
I did second grade there. Like I finished second grade there, and it was pretty crappy. Like I remember the one thing I do remember vividly is when 9/11 happened on 01.
You were 4, 5.
Yeah, almost 5.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like they made like an announcement, and then everyone like turned the TV. You know, because they always had the TV set up in the corner. Like it was like those fat TVs, and then like all the like people were like crying and shit. And I was just like, what
kids?
Well, no, adults.
Yeah, other adults in the school.
What do you mean, like
teachers and shit?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Like they were all like crying and shit, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, I guess it happened in DC. That's an entirely different experience. I was in Atlanta. Yeah, you're in DC. I mean, it's not, you know, the extent of like being in New York when the towers fell, but it's you know, you're not that far from the Pentagon.
No.
And one of the plane that crashed on the ground probably was headed to DC too.
Yeah. So that happened.
Intense.
I remember that, and I was like, that's pretty crazy. And you know, the year after, I remember people kind of mourning about it again. But throughout this entire time, I think my mom worked in the nights. My dad worked mostly through the day and got home like around 7, 8 p.m. So there was like lots of times we were just left alone. We were old enough to be left alone.
What do your parents do?
My mom was working at like maintenance in some like DC building. I have no idea. And my dad was actually working for he was doing construction, but he was doing like some sort of government contract. So he was getting paid like $45 an hour.
Oh shit! So your dad was making good money.
He's making good money, but he wasted it all. So yeah, so those two. My younger sister was born in 2000.
So there's a third. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a third. My younger sister was born in 2000. So this is like what 201 or 2. She was like 1 or 2 years old.
Right.
But yeah, my dad making lots of money.
How was he wasting it all?
Lots of beer, going out and drinking. Yeah, he had his own like his own. He was a contractor, so he had like his own like little like business thing going on with his group of people, and just tons of alcohol. And like thinking now, I'm like I don't understand how you can spend that much money on alcohol. I never took him for much of a drug user. But my mom, as of more recently, she's like, I swear, like you know, she says like, there's no way you could spend that much money on alcohol. And I'm like, you know what, you're kind of like reasonable because they would
bars maybe like
no. Well, the thing is like they would sit at home, like buy like a 48 pack and just sit at home like a Coronas, obviously.
Yeah, that's not,
they just sit at home. And I'm like, that's
beer?
like it's like $30-$40. Like it's not like. So I don't understand, you know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But ever since. My parents got together back in El Salvador and came over here. They've never been like a good couple. Like it was more of a survival thing versus a like I don't even know. Like I guess other reasons you get married. So,
well, they had kids and you got to sit together. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of relationships out there that are like that. I mean, that's why the divorce rate's so high.
Yeah. So
you're surviving, and then I don't know if you can't take anymore. The kids grow up and
fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, growing up, pretty toxic household, lots of arguing, lots of fighting, alcohol abuse, alcoholism, definitely an addiction to it, in an attempt to escape from life. You know, when you're a kid, that doesn't make sense. But now it's like, yeah, that's definitely what was happening. My dad's he's very interesting. I never fully I don't think I understand his thought process because he's a very intelligent guy. You know, he kind of makes things happen when he wants to. But I think what I'm trying to say is I don't understand his priorities. I don't know what his priorities are. I don't know what matters to him. Similar with my mom, I don't know what their priorities are because sometimes they do things that don't make sense to me. My dad is insanely jealous. He used to be, I guess. I mean, they're not together anymore.
Your parents aren't together anymore now?
No, I was able to get them to live separately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was this a recent development?
Yeah.
Like how recent?
Like maybe the beginning of the summer.
Oh shit!
The summer just passed.
Yeah, so right before you and I met in end of June.
Yeah. So I put that together and made it happen.
Were they They were just living together. Unhealthy, toxic relationship?
Yeah, so they were living together in an apartment because I had moved out. My older sister was living with her boyfriend and stuff at the time. So it was just them two and my younger sister in the apartment. And my younger sister was barely there because she would spend time either in school, you know, or with her boyfriend and stuff. So the only reason they didn't want to move out or like separate is because they wanted her to finish high school. Once she finished high school, which was in 2017? Yeah, 2017. Then they still stayed together for another year or so, and I was like, wasn't that the plan? So then my younger sister, then like I was like, okay, like you guys have to move out. Like this is like not working,
right?
Because it's hard for me to describe the role that I play in my family, but it's like whenever someone needs something, they come to me.
Okay,
I'm not like a fucking therapist where I'm not like gonna sit there on the phone and listen to like you vent for the next hour. But if it's like, look, I need this done, I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah,
that's kind of the role you played at work too at Equinox.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, so you know, kind of goes like everything's full circle, right? Everything kind of comes back. So they would always call me, and it's like, and vent to me, and I'm like, why are you putting this on me? Like, I am your child. Like, why? Like, I don't understand what you think, who you think I am. But yeah, no, I got them separate, but
you adopted like this role as a peer.
I have no idea, man. It's crazy, but they were always fighting and toxic, and my dad allegedly, I never saw it, but allegedly had like this illegal gun and like threatened my mom, and he there was definitely domestic violence. Nothing insane though, but definitely
like pushing.
Yeah, I mean like pushing, a little bit of like holding, and like yeah. So definitely like it got physical, but nothing like insane where you like would imagine like black and blue eyes and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, my dad was very jealous. He like would pull up to my mom's job and like just like stalk her and like crazy shit.
Wow.
And yeah, and then like all under the influence of like alcohol. Right. He's gotten like probably like 3 DUIs over the course of his life. And he is crazy because I'm honestly surprised that he is still in the country. I am surprised that he's not.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
I'm baffled. Because I think it's because of the area we live in, where it's like, you know, more like it's less like aggressive on immigrants, and like the fact that you are an immigrant, like they don't necessarily, the first thing they want to do is get you out, you know.
Right.
They'd like rather take your money and have you pay and you go through the system.
Right.
They wouldn't mind that. But in other places it's like, oh, like you fucked up, you're gone.
Yeah. Your dad's like a guaranteed DUI. What is that, like $10,000 to the system every few years?
So he just got one like a fucking year ago.
Yeah.
Fucking retard. So
it sounds like my dad, man. My dad was the same story. I didn't grow up with my dad. I don't know him as well, but I know it's similar shit. Just like, what are you doing, man?
It's like fucking, like, you know,
I mean, I'm no saint, man, but alcohol, I couldn't drink alcohol that much. I like to get drunk every now and then. I think it's fun, but I don't understand like repeated daily or even like majority of day alcohol use to the point of intoxication or even any consumption. Dude, that's crazy.
That's what
like
I'm
you
saying.
Feel so shitty all the time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And that's what it's definitely like he used his money to kind of like just get happy.
Right.
You know, so like go to restaurants, probably like strip clubs and things of that nature, you know, just kind of indulging in the pleasures of life.
Right.
But yeah, it was very toxic. It was terrible. I mean, I honestly don't remember much of it, and I think that's not. I don't think that's a coincidence.
You don't have a clear
progression in my head of
up until what age?
The next thing I remember skipping forward from that is like we moved out of Mary House and moved to Maryland, and we lived in kind of like Langley Park.
That's like 3rd grade?
Yeah, it's like 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
And I now went to Maryland public schools. The school called Mary Harris Mother Jones. It's on like Adelphi University Boulevard.
Okay.
So it's like it's still there today.
It's a public school, Mother Jones.
Yeah. That's what
Mother Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
Not like Mother Jones, like nun.
I think she's like.
It's like civil rights activist or something.
I'm not. I know for sure there's some sort of history context there, but that school.
What county is that?
Prince George's. Yeah. Prince George County Public Schools.
Yep.
That school changed my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I had 3rd grade teacher named Miss Scott, 4th grade teacher named Miss Verostek. Fun fact. That 4th grade year, I got straight A's the entire year. That was the first time I got like addicted to like getting good
academic success.
That I was like,
this is awesome.
I was like
positive reinforcement.
Shitting on all the kids, and I was like, oh y'all fucking suck. Like this is a walk in the park. Like, but I think in a way, school became.
You're probably like mastering English at that point. Like you got
I was still
down.
doing ESOL in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
4th grade is when I stopped.
And you would cut your
ESOL.
teeth at like a shitty school, so you were kind of hardened.
Yeah, and I think now thinking back to it, I think the reason I was good at school is because it's all I had.
Right.
Like I can go home and there was no love, there was no care, there was no understanding of the society. There was no like asking me what I am as a person, like what my interest is, what my passion was, what my opinions were. You know, things that are important for humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shit.
So I just went to school, and that was the way I expressed myself, and that kind of became part of my identity, which still sticks to this day.
Right. You're also looking for like the positive reinforcement from the adults,
the appreciation,
yeah.
You know, the praise. You know, looking for all that good stuff. And it's like, oh, you got straight A's? Yeah, like, you're one of the best. Like, you know, we had these award ceremonies.
Right.
We would get, like, certificates. Like, there's some, like, the most bullshit certificates, but, like, I lived for those.
Yeah,
like,
the fourth grade, that's a huge deal.
Like, I would, like, go to these ceremonies and just know that I was going to get showered with pieces of paper.
Would your parents come to these?
No.
Really?
I don't know if you could. I think you could have, actually. My parents were working.
Right.
My mom didn't go to my college graduation because she was working.
Shit.
This year in May.
Damn.
So that's just outlines like the priorities, which is what, like I was saying.
Right.
Like what's the priorities here?
Right. Did they have? Was there any sort of positive reaction on their part to that success? Like when you came home with these certificates?
Yeah, but it seemed like, I don't know. It didn't seem real. Like. I kept the folder of all these certificates. It is like a blue, like see-through plastic folder that I can still see in my head. And we had like some sort of unofficial competition going on between me and my siblings. My older sister was in school for longer, but I had like twice as many like certificates as she did. And we're supposed to keep them and store them, and like it's supposed to be like some sort of like proud achievement thing, but it never became anything that got celebrated or anything.
Right.
And it just became like a norm. It's like, cool, you set a baseline, now just keep it or keep pushing higher. You know, once you get like a 4.0, it's like how much, there's nowhere you can go. Like, you can't just stay there. So my parents were always like, yeah, like, you know, cool. Like, they're like, that's what you're supposed to do to be successful. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't like, oh my God, like, you're killing, like, you're amazing. Like, all these kids are like struggling, you're here. And I was like, that's just what you do.
What was their level of education in El Salvador?
My dad graduated high school, the equivalent of it over there, and my mom maybe like 3rd grade.
Okay. And do you know if the equivalent of high school is 8th grade or 12th?
I think it's like 8th grade. It's like 8th grade. Yeah.
That's kind of normal.
So, yeah, like it was. I don't know. It was insane. I'm looking forward to starting therapy.
Yeah.
I want to do like twice a month. And actually,
what's the insurance situation?
Equinox covers mental health benefits, but I don't think it kicks in until like next year.
Right.
So I'm just gonna grind and just wait for that.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to it because I feel like there's a lot of things that I can uncover.
Totally, man.
Like even right now, I'm just thinking back a lot of these details that I have, like I guess like pushed away on purpose. Yeah, suppressed for a reason. But yeah, like. It's just been terrible. And then 4th grade, we moved. Then we moved somewhere to a different apartment complex. We moved from the house to an apartment complex. And then now I went to this other school for 5th grade only called... what was this shit called? Wow. I can see it in my head. You know... damn. It's next to Cool Spring Elementary. Do you know Cool Spring on University Boulevard and Riggs Road?
Is it in DC?
It's in Maryland. It's like Metzgerott and Riggs Road. It's next to the Cool Spring Elementary School. But I went to 5th grade at this school, and the school was pretty shit. So it was interesting, like coming in as a good student from the Mother Jones School to this school, because all the kids here didn't give a fuck about education. Mm-hmm. This was the first time I ever saw.
It's crazy that you noticed the change, even as like what were you, 5 to 8 at the first school, and then as an 8-year-old to 10-year-old, you can notice, oh wow, this is better than my 5 to 8-year-old experience.
Yeah.
And then you're a 10-year-old, and you're like, oh shit, I'm back in the fucking back in the shit again.
I was there, and we were living in this apartment complex, and this is probably like one of the worst years. It was pretty bad. Like, I don't know, like the people that I was around, didn't have the same priorities, and the energy rubs off. Kids were smoking weed in 5th grade.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like,
fuck, man.
They smoking weed. I didn't smoke, but like, that's just a thing that happened. Like, that's when I first saw weed, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, this is real.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, that's probably when I was first introduced to weed, but it's really not smoking in 5th grade. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, so, these kids were like, I don't know, here because they had to be, not because they wanted to be. They had no ambitions, no goals. They clearly were like just not raised correctly. Not saying I was, but
right.
I was at least told that I needed to do good to not be a failure in life. I guess that kind of motivated me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it was pretty shit. My dad got arrested for like 6 months out of that year for the DUI.
Was he in jail for 6 months?
Yeah.
Fuck, for DUI?
Yeah. And no, the domestic violence. That's what it was.
Oh,
domestic violence. He got charged and put in jail.
Your mom charged him?
Yeah.
Fuck.
For like 6 months, and we would go visit him. We would go to fucking.
How did he not get deported? That's crazy, dude. Because now you're talking.
We would go
violent crimes.
We would go to Upper Marlboro jail. I don't even remember what the fuck it is. I think it's like county jail or some shit. We would go visit him, like that. Like it sounds crazy, but like I remember it. We would go visit him, and then
at the time, you think he was crazy? Like, no, it's going to visit dad in jail.
It just is what it is. Yeah, like I knew not to tell anybody, but like everyone was like I haven't seen him in forever. I'm like, oh yeah, he's just busy, like, doing his thing, and then yeah, that's when his shit fell apart because he was gone for so long. His company fell apart. The people he relied on to work fell apart. His opportunities fell apart. And things went pretty downhill from there. Then we moved back to a different apartment complex, and I was able to go back to Mother Jones for my 6th grade.
Okay.
And again, the school was amazing. Like,
Is this now like middle school? Is there any transition from 5th to 6th at all?
Well, middle school started at 7th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 6th grade I finished out at Mother Jones, and they would teach 3 different math courses, which is why I knew they cared about education. Right. They would teach like a basic, intermediate, and then like an advanced one. And we would always have to either stay in your classroom or switch classrooms depending on which one you were fitted. And I would always have to go to, her name was Miss Thornton's classroom. She was the advanced one. The classroom I was in was like the basic one, like my home teacher. He was teaching the basic math course. So we'd always do this switch thing, which I think is amazing. Like, that way you're not holding one kid's back, but you're not also confusing the shit out of other kids. It's like
that wasn't the case at the other school.
No, fuck no. The other school had no, they didn't care. Like, it didn't feel like they cared about education.
Right.
Like, this school, is all about education. Like, even the people they hire is so perfect. Like, yeah, so finished out of 6th grade super strong, taking these hard math courses and shit like that. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like, and then came middle school, which was Buck Lodge Middle School. Yeah, so 7th.
Was this the feeder from Mother Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, 7th and 8th grade there. It's pretty crazy, because now middle school is like hormones. Mm-hmm. It's shit's raging, and not crazy for me, but seeing people get pregnant, seeing fucking people.
7th and 8th grade. That's it.
Yeah, well, people making out in random places and people getting caught trying to have sex. It was a crazy shit.
So it's a separate school, 7th and 8th grade, then you go to high school after that? A separate high school? Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I like how they separate middle school just for really that purpose.
I mean,
when these kids' hormones are developing, we just put them off in their own separate
honestly,
form.
Dude.
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
So, it was crazy. I mean, it was good. I don't know. I really shined academically amidst all, I would say this school was a middle. It wasn't everyone cared about education, but it wasn't a trash. And this school was definitely in the middle. 7th grade shined. 8th grade same thing. I played for the soccer team there. I was a starter. It's the first time I ever played sports academically. And I think the most important thing that happened there was guidance counselor 8th grade came in during math class. I remember during math class I know exactly where I was sitting because I can see the door. And she came in and she was like, there is this, because we were all talking about taking tests to apply to get into Roosevelt, which is a high school in Greenbelt, which has like a very awesome science program. And then there's other like Forestville, that's like the military school. There's these schools you could apply to for different programs, kind of start to specialize your education. Then she came with this thing, like she was like, this school is just opening, and she called it middle college, and she was like, you can get an associate's degree. And in 8th grade, at like 14 years old, sitting, 13, it was like 12, 13 years old, sitting there, and I was like, this is like what my parents have been yelling to me about forever. Like, that's what crossed my mind. Wow. I was like, I've gotten all these achievements and all these whatever, like, and they were like, they presented me with a college opportunity, and I was like, this is it. Like, all I have to do is test into it. And it was the same exact test for Roosevelt. And Roosevelt didn't accept me, but this middle school college thing did. And looking back, I wanted Roosevelt to accept me because it was sort of like
prestigious.
Yeah, it was prestigious, exactly. And you're like, oh shit, like, you know, I'm up there. But they didn't accept me, and I was like, what the fuck? And then this school accepted me, and I was like, fuck it, like, I guess I'll just like go check it out. We went to like the ceremony or whatever.
These are like your options instead of just going straight to the whatever.
Which was High Point High School.
Okay.
Yeah, the local was High Point High School, and my older sister, because she's older, right, had already gone through that, and for her it wasn't like a good experience because, I mean, I guess everyone internalizes things differently, like from home, but for her, she like found like a really bad group of people, and like she ran away from home for like a couple of years, but while she was in, like, she was supposed to be in high school. So she ran away from home for like a couple of years, maybe 3 years. Oh, this was when I was in middle school in 8th grade, right?
So would you see her at all?
No.
Fuck. Did you know like she was alive? Did you contact with her?
I mean, she would send letters. She would send letters to like my parents, so like she was alive, but like she wasn't going to school, and she wasn't like, she just wanted to do her own thing. And my parents were like insanely protective over her because she was like the firstborn, and like she wasn't allowed to do anything. And I don't know, like I said, it was an internalization, I guess, of like trying to find a family to fit in and trying to find something to belong to, because that didn't exist at home.
Right.
So to me, belonging to, I guess, like academic environment was my thing. To her, just like, was just natural, like, you know, like belonging to a group of people, and like she left, like went to go like live with them forever, like it felt like forever. It was like 2-3 years, and then
she's a teenager.
Yeah.
Wow. Where in Maryland?
We had like my mom had like police, like, you know, like they were like monitoring social media, and like it was just like a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, like, this is a thing, and so I'm sitting in middle school, like that's like happening. Like, she's not home, and I'm like, High Point doesn't sound like the right place. You know, like it's just really kind of like High Point doesn't sound like the best place.
Right.
And I was like, I was definitely considering other options. So this came around, and I was like, I mean, yeah, why not? Like, you know, and then I got accepted, and I mean, we had this whole like auditorium ceremony thing we went to where they explained how everything worked, and it was pretty crazy. I mean, next thing I knew was doing a summer magnet program to the school. Grade. Yeah, after 8th grade to go to that school. And then 13 years old, I was at fucking 9th grade on Prince George Community College campus.
Oh, it was on the college campus?
It was on Prince George Community College campus.
Oh, shit.
13 years old.
That's cool.
Yeah. And the people there, like, were about it. Like, they knew, like, they were, like, we were kids, but they knew we were like pretty smart. So they knew like there was like immaturity, but they knew there was potential.
Right.
Like it's like a thin like line.
Right.
You have to kind of keep some people in line. You know, like some things are cool, some things aren't. You know, so it was it was fun. I mean, it was 100 of us. That's it. We were broken up into 4 different cohorts, and like the teachers would come to us. Like, we would just stay in the room, they would come to us, they would rotate.
So you're with the same 25 people every day? All day?
For the most part, yeah. And then the only college courses we took in the first year, I think, was, like, physical education. And they would, like, as a group, would line up and walk across the fucking campus. So everyone knew, like, yo, look, those are the 13-year-olds.
Boy, they knew you were 13, you look 13, right?
I mean, I had a beard.
Really?
Yeah. I had a full beard. I got it. I had it in 8th grade.
So you legitimately could have passed for a kid at the community college.
Yeah, probably. In 8th grade, it came in, and I had like patches down here, 3 patches, and I had no mustache. My mustache didn't come into like 10th grade, 11th grade. It was insane. But yeah, I had a full beard.
So y'all were just like in a classroom at the community college.
Yeah, and it was
and they were teaching all basic high school shit.
Yeah,
geometry, or like pre-calc and
biology, all that basic shit. You know, we took Chinese mandatory. We had to for the first 2 years of our education. And I mean, it was since it was only 100 kids, like we were all super close. And yeah, I mean I would leave my house at like 7 a.m. and get back around like 6
How'd you get
p.m. We would, so this is crazy. I would take my bus that would pick the kids up from where we lived, the apartment complex, to High Point High School.
Okay.
Then we would have to wait outside of the school, not inside. We weren't allowed to wait inside.
Wow.
Because we weren't actual students in school. So when it was freezing cold, we had to wait outside for 2 hours.
2 hours you had to wait?
For the second bus to come pick us up.
You're just hanging out for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Every morning?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck!
Yeah. So the second bus came to pick us up, and then...
What are you doing? Like, homework?
No, we're just talking, chilling, like, sitting around, you know, just...
Wow.
You know, whatever the fuck 13-year-olds do in 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, then the bus came to pick us up, and then it rounded up kids from other schools, which did the same thing, and then it took all of us to the Prince George Community College campus.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like a very full, like our classes started at 9 a.m.
Right.
Right, but we were awake since like fucking 6.
Right.
So that was the thing, and then we have our 6-hour days, so it's like 9 to 1, 9 to 2, whatever the fuck it is. It was like 9 to 3, I think. Yeah, 9 to 3 exactly. And then we had our buses that would then take us home another hour and a half, so I'll go home like 5:30.
Did you do that for 4 years?
3. Last year I drove illegally, but I drove.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. Honestly, it's like kind of a haze, but I do remember staying up insanely late, doing math homework, writing papers, all that shit. Like I had no social life outside of the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that for like 2 years. 10th grade was same shit. 11th grade was kind of a lot of the same shit. And I mean, I know those details, like I don't know, like professors teachers switch. You get into college courses. Some are like professors are better than others. You're trying to understand how this whole college process works. Yeah, and I mean, did it like every year. It was like you had tons of support. So it was like there's never a time where you should be failing anything. But some kids did. Some kids failed. Some kids got kicked out because they were immature. Some kids, just didn't want to continue. They dropped out. Things like that.
Did you finish with an associate's degree at the end of the 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So she's general studies associate's degree. So basically, like all your prereq courses are out the way. Yeah, and then in 12th grade, which is like last year, we did all that. Finished the college curriculum for an associate's degree, high school curriculum for a high school diploma. And it was crazy. We were the first graduating class
of that program.
2015. It's still going on today.
That's a cool program.
It's a great program.
My sister did something like that, but she had to commute.
Yeah.
I think she had to take some classes. I think she had to be at high school like 2 days a week or something. The only thing we had was, I went to a great high school, don't get me wrong, we had plenty of options. I just didn't take advantage of most of them, honestly. But we had like a professor from the local community college come to our, for like the advanced like English people.
Yeah.
So we'd show up like a little early, but we only had to come, I think we'd show up an hour early, but we only had to go 2 days a week or something like that.
Nice.
We had little shit like that in like AP classes. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
So then you're applying to college as a sophomore, junior, essentially?
Yeah. So I, as much help as these people were, a lot of the kids that were there came from families with money.
Right.
families that had been established, you know, they already had college education, careers, and things like that. So I was definitely on like the reason I found out later that the reason I was allowed in, or I guess like was a part of the program, was that 50% of the people were like insanely smart, and then 50% of the people were insanely broke.
Yeah,
I was in the middle.
Right.
You know, I wasn't like complete genius, but I was pretty smart.
Did you not pick up on that like during the time?
Not immediately, but then like I think like around 10th grade, I kind of picked up, and I was like,
half of y'all are poor, half of y'all are geniuses.
yeah, because I was like, half of you guys are wearing like insane expensive clothing, and it's like a regular thing. Half of us are kind of like, what?
Right.
You know, like, and so I was like, this is a clear distinction, you know, because their parents were helping them with FAFSA, their parents were helping them with college applications, their parents were helping them with resumes, their parents were doing all these things, and I was like, what? They were like, because the kids were like, yo, like, what college are you applying to? You know, what are you doing? And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like,
dude, but that's like half the value of programs like that is for kids that are coming from a low socioeconomic background to like have an example of like, oh, this is how the game is played. Because that's a problem in these poor schools and these schools I've worked in is like these kids. It's not like they're not capable of doing it, or they have no map of how to get there at all. They don't even know what the destination is that they're going to.
Exactly.
And so just little things like that, like what college are you applying to? Have you done your FAFSA? You know, poor kids are like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then kids that, you know, grow up in the suburbs or parents with college education, it's just it's just the path that they're taught.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The exposure of models of the way to do it, of how to play the game is so important.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that high school will forever set the course of my life. It really kind of showed me like everything. It was a clear example of how my socioeconomic status was holding me back. It was broad as daylight, and no one could argue any different. Being here, seeing what these kids were wearing, what these kids products like laptops that they had, seeing, you know, how they perceived money, how they thought about education, because they were also very smart. They weren't just like rich, spoiled kids. They were very smart, and I was like, wow, like you're telling me I could be like, I could have like commodities like that as well. You know, it's not like one or the other. It's like it really opened my mind up to this world, and I was like, it's like, wow, like these kids are a product of their parents, which may be product of their parents. You know, so if anything, I am 3 generations back in wherever they, you know, are currently. And I was like, okay, that means that I still have to do all this fucking legwork. Yeah, I have to do all this legwork, and I'm like, okay, fine. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like high school was great.
Do you think you would have had that example, though, that lesson, that if would have been that stark, the difference if you had gone to High Point?
Dude, I think so, because I pushed myself to levels that I had never even knew I was capable of at this school, because it was the standard. And if I went to High Point, I could have cruised through it and got amazing grades.
Right.
But like, what is the importance, or like, what's the lesson in that in life?
Right.
Am I going to continue to cruise through life? Not with the socioeconomic status and the immigration status that I have. That's not going to be applicable. So I'm glad that I was able to go to a program like this, because it really showed me like all you guys are here now. You guys made it. Cool. Now work even harder. You know, like we had rankings, like
really, it's on
our report cards we had rankings
of the 100 of y'all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're used to that. That's like how does Equinox.
Yeah. So we had rankings, and I was like, all right, like I can get with this.
Do you like it at Equinox?
The ranking system?
Yeah.
I honestly, it's funny because
it serves its purpose.
I check it like every other day, and I've been 5th place for like the last couple of weeks. Sarab's obviously first, but
Yulia.
Yulia's up there. Davey's up there. Charles was 6th last time I spoke to him. Kayla's like 4. I think she's like 1 ahead of me.
Right.
And it's probably like Yulia and then Davey. Sarab was first. So So yeah, I mean the ranking system definitely like is good for that purpose, but it's purely egotistical.
Yeah.
And like I said, we had this discussion. Like I said, like I understand that sometimes I dig into that and use that, but I feel like as long as I'm consciously aware of it and it doesn't consume me, I'll be okay.
Right.
But yeah, I mean the school it was the craziest shit that I had ever seen in my life. I really got set up, and they really gave us they allowed us the opportunity to earn an associate's degree for free.
So what are you thinking? Like your senior year, high school's about to wrap up. What are you thinking your options are at that time?
I'm like, I need to apply to fucking college.
Yeah.
I applied to University of Maryland. Didn't hear back. Probably because I didn't submit my application correctly because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
They didn't like walk y'all through that? The high school didn't walk y'all through that?
No, dude. They thought like most of us were like pretty capable.
Right.
I mean, like we were, but like we just didn't know the details about it.
It's also probably not like a faculty, right? There's not like there's a principal and a guidance counselor.
There is.
On campus there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is. But it was just like, that's not like, we had like kind of like general workshops, it's like they helped us learn how to pick our college courses and navigate that system because we were deciding our schedule basically for the last year being there as seniors.
It's probably just assumed all you are going to college, right?
Yeah, and like that to me was very like new, like picking college courses, like figuring out like the times and scheduling I was like, that kind of stressed me out, and I was like, is this like what everyone does on a regular basis, on a semester basis? And like, it's like a regular college thing, picking your schedule. Like that's what you have to do. You don't just like show up and then you're given the curriculum. But that's like what I've been used to my entire life.
Right.
Now you get to select the curriculum. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, and I applied to University of Maryland. I never heard back. I definitely didn't submit my application correctly. I know that for sure because I did it again and I got in. And yeah, I applied to UMBC and
like you didn't hear back. Like it's second semester. You still
at all. Like I didn't hear you're denied or like.
So what point did you apply again?
Well, I mean, like after. Okay, so this is like I'm saying like when I graduated this year is my second application, but that was back in 2016.
Right.
So 2017.
Right, but
this is
it like almost time like high school graduation?
2015. Yeah, 2015. I don't know like what I fucked up, but I fucked up on something. Then I applied to UMBC. They accepted me. At the time, I was working at this cafe restaurant place in Tacoma, which was owned by the daughters of the people who own Mary House.
Okay.
So
what was that place called?
Sharon and Bill Murphy. They're the owners of Mary House. The daughters that owned it were Caitlin and Megan Murphy, and it was called Capital City Cheesecake.
Okay.
I was working there from like 10th grade onward. So I was like, no, it was like 10th grade onward. So I was like 13, 14 at the time. They picked me up and I was just like a busser, and like I would just go like carry food to tables and stuff. And that was like the first job on the books that I've had because I used to like work for my dad and things like that where you could just get paid cash, just like an extra set of hands. But at that job, surrounded by those people, and it really like shaped me socially because they told me things like you have to speak like this, you have to say these words, like they basically were like, we can't be a robot anymore,
right?
Because it's customer service,
you're interacting with customers,
yeah, and I would just be a robot, like do this, cool, like here, take it, like I don't care, like there's no like human element to it. It's more just like a robot like doing tasks. And I just think, dude, I think about it all the time, and I'm like, I used to be such a robot, and like, it's fucking hilarious. But that's all I knew. Like, I would. This is like the level that I would go to school, right? Get back home around 5. This place closed like around maybe 8 or 9. I would hop on my bike and bike for 30 minutes from Langley Park to Tacoma Park, which is where it was at now. I'm actually living right down the street from it now. It's not like open anymore, but that property. I would bike 30 minutes there, work my shift, then bike back home 30 minutes, then spend 2-3 hours doing homework and do it all over again.
Dude, high school is crazy. I was talking to someone about this recently. If you're schedules in high school can be crazy because you got up at 6, you said?
Yeah.
So you're just grinding from 6 to like 11.
10. Yeah, my school had no sports or no extracurricular activities.
That was my thing. Would be school 8 till like almost 4.
Then you have your
and then practice till it's like by the time you get out there 7. You gotta go home and do homework till 9, 10.
Exactly.
Squeeze in dinner, shower.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? 14, 15?
It's a fucking like it's employee harboring business.
It is. It is.
I mean, it's
that's the busiest time of my life. I think about it. Like that was the most consistently busy I was. Like cumulative hours, just like on.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, okay, so
so I applied to UMBC, got accepted. I was working at this restaurant, right? So there was a couple people there that were like finishing up their bachelor's programs at UMBC. So they kind of helped me with the details and things of that nature. And I went to UMBC. I declared my major as computer engineering because I liked computers, I liked science, and I used to, for a side hustle, repair computers and cell phones.
Oh shit!
So I would take them apart and put them together,
okay,
and all the switch pieces out and things like that. So I was I feel pretty comfortable with this technology and these things, and I was I would love to learn deeper how they're created, and then go from there. So I did all that stuff, but I was too broke to live on campus. So I had to commute.
Was it UMBC?
UMBC, Baltimore County. So I would drive from Langley Park to UMBC, which is an hour and some change drive, there and back, every Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sundays I would stay at home, and I'm still working. So my days began at 6 a.m. and ended at probably 10 p.m.
The same schedule as high school, basically.
11. Yeah, it was insane. But now I'm older and a lot more freedom, and we're doing these courses and these curriculums. This is fucking college. This is real shit, not compared to where I was coming from. And I think I was on some sort of high because I was able to finish that, and it was doable, right? It was never the time I was struggling, and I was wow, this shit is for me. Went into UMBC, I was oh, I'm about to fucking murder this shit. Yeah, dude. Failed every single one of my courses.
Oh shit!
I was lined up for a full semester, 5-6 courses. Failed every single one. I didn't know that I needed to pay. I thought I don't know, stupid child. I just thought that you would pay when you finish school. I didn't know they were you'd have to pay in order for you to continue a semester. I didn't know about late camp, late dropping classes and fees, and I didn't think about paying for my food or gas, so life became very, very real. I was used to paying for gas and stuff because I had my own car, but when you're traveling at that level, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of variables. I was working a lot. Didn't have any time to myself, any time to socialize. I honestly was just surviving. And the crazy shit is I dropped out 3/4 through the semester. There was no official, I didn't officially cancel anything or do anything. I just stopped going.
Stop showing up.
I just stopped showing up. Yeah. That's all I knew. Because I struggled with it for a very long time. After midterms passed, I was I'm gonna give myself this one last chance, and I worked my ass off through midterms, and I failed everything. And I was dude, you can continue to stress out. You're gonna fail anyway. So I'm just gonna give up.
What did you think the plan was then?
Yeah, and then the thing was, I was staying home a lot more, and my parents were what's what are you doing? And I was oh, classes are just on vacation. I was I don't know, they're off.
Oh, you just didn't tell them?
Yeah, and then once the semester finished, I told them that I dropped out and I failed every one of my courses, and it was a very hard thing to come to because identity wise, being good at school was a big part of my identity.
Yeah,
that's all I had.
Yeah,
and for that to fall apart, it really fucked me up. And I couldn't explain that to anyone, especially my parents. They don't understand what it's like. But it really fucked me up. Yeah, I was definitely depressed for a year change. I lost all motivation. I didn't want to do anything with my life. Nothing mattered to me. Nothing meant anything. I would go to work and just do it and just fucking wander through the day, and it was a very, very bad time in my life. I was 17, 18. Right? Like, this is young as fuck. Yeah, so I was like, all I can do is just fucking, like, just survive. So I would go to work and make my money, pay my shit, like, buy things that I wanted to buy, and just live a very basic minimum wage life. I'm making, like, $30,000, like, $25,000 a year, probably. Living with my parents, and, yeah, I mean, just kind of, like, letting time go by. And I did that.
Were you thinking, like, I'm going to go back to school? Were you thinking you're just like, I'm just like floating?
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea.
Life, right?
This was all, there was no plan B.
Right.
It was pass everything in school, be good at school, or, like, fail and die. And then, like, everything broke apart. Like, it was just terrible. And then I was like, my sleep was bad. My diet was shit. Like, my self-perception was trash, like, self-confidence, like, nothing. There was nothing. And I was just like, dude, like, this, like, I just didn't have any sort of, like, anything. I can't even explain it. Like, now it seems so weird because I wake up and there's just, like, ambition and fire within me that I want to do shit and get shit done. But that really, like, which is why I like, can confidently call it depression, because it really, like, turned everything off for me, like, internally. There was no motivation to do anything in life. And I'm thankful that I was working a lot at that place specifically, because, you know, they were like the sisters of the people, you know, that gave out family housing. So, like, they knew me, they knew, like, my family. My younger sister ended up working there, my older sister ended up working there, my mom ended up working there. So, like, it was, like, very family based. And, you know, they were they sat me down and was like, what's wrong? Like, what the, like, you know, like, what are you gonna do? And then I was just like, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to do, like, I just, like, I have no motivation. Like, everything is just gone. Like, that's what all I identified as, and now it's nothing. And then, yeah, they were like, you have to do something with your life. Like, you have to, like, want something. And I'm like, dude, like it's just nothing. Like, so I was like that for, like, a year and some change. And then I got bored. You know, like, I was drinking a lot, smoking weed, you know, just doing things, kind of just, like, hang out.
That's what you're doing in your free time?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was doing then.
You hanging out with people from, like, high school, or?
Oh, from that job, actually. Okay. Yeah. Like, you know, because they were older, so you just go drink and, you know, smoke weed, hang out, relax. And then, like, yeah, around the time, you know, I would always watch my peers, both from the school, the high school that I graduated from, right? So I was 17 when I graduated. So at 19, some of them, like, had committed and gone all the way through, you know, because they had the support system, the resources, the understanding, whatever. At 19, they had got their bachelor's, and then I was here working, and I was like, what am I doing with my life?
And now you can see, like, what could have been.
Yeah, and I was 19, and I was like, I wasted 2 years of my life. Like, I could have had a bachelor's. But at that point, having the bachelor's meant more than, like, having the knowledge. Right. So I'm glad I didn't actually go through with it, because it wasn't about, like, learning or improving in life. It was more just about getting a piece of paper. Right. Which is, like, a terrible reason to go to fucking college. So those 2 years passed, and in those 2 years, after the first year of extreme depression, I came to a realization. I was like, I can either wallow in this or, like, figure some shit out. And then my motivation became the gym. So I'm gonna wake up every day at 4 a.m, get ready by 4:30 a.m, leave my house at 4:30 a.m. to get to the gym at 5 a.m. I did that for an entire year. I put myself to sleep at 9:30 p.m. every night so that I could make that happen. And that just became something in that I wanted.
How did you get into that?
I was always into, like, working out until, like, 8th grade and gym and stuff. Go to, like, Planet Fitness, you know, here and there, like, bullshit. But then I was working with this one guy in Laurel, and I forgot what we were doing. I think we were doing, like, carpet or some sort of flooring. I don't remember. But he took me to LA Fitness. He gave me a 2-week free guest pass. And when I got in there, it was, like, changed my life, because they had barbells, free weights, lots of different machines, and I had never seen this type of equipment because I had been so used to Planet Fitness. And I was like, wow, like this is a whole new world. And that, I think, to me sparked something. I was like, I want like to get like, I just want to do like get familiar with all this stuff. So for that entire next year, I just worked out. I read tons and tons of self-help books. Like it's fucking like this is all I could think about doing.
Like what's tons? Tens?
Dude, like probably 20,
100,
30. Like I would fucking like read books on like there's like SoundCloud sometimes, or like there's different like apps and actual like try to find like PDFs and things like that. And books are speaking about these concepts that at fucking 19 I had no idea, like self-awareness or like boundaries. Like boundaries is a huge one. Like what the fuck at 19 you don't understand what boundaries are, that you just became a legal person. Like everything you know, like your whole entire life, everyone else has set boundaries for you. Now you're responsible for setting for yourself. A lot of spirituality books, not in the sense of like religion, but more so like believing in a higher purpose and a higher being. And I guess I just like to call it like self-evolution. Mm-hmm. Not everything that I read or thought about stuck, but enough of it did. Made a big difference. And I was like, okay, this self-education process has been awesome. I need some more structure. So then I thought about going back to Maryland, and I thought about applying, and I looked at some of the majors, and yeah, I mean, I was going to do biology, and then this girl that I used to date in high school saw that I was going to do biology, because I think I posted on Instagram or some shit like that, and she was like, you should check out kinesiology. I was like, okay, it's interesting, never heard of that. Checked it out, and this was a whole bunch of human movement, anatomy, and science and shit, and I was like, yo, this is the shit that
Damn, shout out to that girl. That was nice.
Yeah, I know. It was like crazy. Like I hadn't talked to her in like 2-3 years, and she just, because she had friends. She went to Maryland. She was going to Maryland at the time. She had friends that were in kinesiology, so she knew what it was about. And then, like, you know, I was always like posting on Instagram, kind of like my thing about the gym and just being like physically active and tying that to mental health and all that stuff. She was like, you should look into this, and I was like, wow, like, so then, yeah, like big props to her. I switched my major like after I had declared it like 2 weeks later, and then yeah, I mean, the summer before I started that school, I was still working at the cafe, and I was still living with my parents, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to graduate UMD if I stayed to live with my parents, because it was like 7 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. Mm-hmm. My mom, my dad, me, my younger sister, older sister, my older sister, and like her 2 kids and like her boyfriend.
Damn,
dude, in a 2-bedroom apartment.
How's so impossible. People like living in the living room and stuff?
And yeah, I mean, living room, yeah, and I mean, like that's the kind of living situation that I've been with familiar my entire life. To me, that was just normal. Falling asleep and like loud yelling and screaming, that was just normal to me. With the TV on, lights on, that was just normal. Like, didn't bother me. So, but I knew that I didn't have enough space, time, or like there wasn't enough. Like I couldn't do homework and deal with all this shit, because it was a very toxic household still, nonetheless. So I asked the sisters that owned the cafe if I should talk to the parents about moving back into Mary House, or like living in Mary House. You know, I thought they were going to put me in like this DC like housing unit that they have, you know, for like AmeriCorps people that would just come and like volunteer and go, because it's a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So they just provide subsidized housing, and you know they kind of just provide some sort of stability for people, like immigrant families mainly. And I was like, are they going to put me in this house that I had been going to go drink and smoke weed at with these other people that were working at the same restaurant, but that lived in that building. Mm-hmm. So they lived in Mary House and were also working at this restaurant. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, like this is where I'm going to be living at in DC. I was like, I'm going to have to learn how to use the metro. I'm going to have to learn how to do all this bullshit and, you know, go to the University of Maryland. I had like looked up travel times. I'd already like started like plan things out, like shit out, because I hate getting caught off guard. Like, I'm good at improvising, but I'd rather not.
Right.
Like, I'd rather reduce the chance of risk when I can. And I asked her. I thought about it for fucking 3 months. It took me 3 months to build up the courage to even ask for her to allow me to live in Mary House, because for me, asking people for help was a sign of weakness.
Right.
Because one, because there's no one I could ask for help in my family. So even if I wanted to, it wasn't a thing. And two, in my opinion, everyone that asked me for help couldn't do it on their own.
Right.
And then I was like, they're asking me for help because they can't do it. So if I'm asking someone for help, it means I can't do it. And I had to actually like come to terms with that, like mentally, like I can't do it in this environment. I need the help. Like, you know, it's bigger than just me. So I asked Sharon Murphy, that she's the owner, and I went over to her house because her house is like literally like right like probably 4 blocks, like 4 houses down from the restaurant. And I went to go talk to her, and I was like, look, like I want to like move out of my parents' house, go into Mary house, and I was like, I just need time, I just need space, and like, you know, to do my homework, and like, you know, it was crazy, and it was really like humbling, which is good. I like it, but it was a lot. Like it required me to grow, like as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of set my ego aside.
Yeah.
And that was very hard. And I did it, and then she was like, yeah, I'll like think about it. And then like she talked to me like 2 days later, and she offered me to live in her basement, the entire basement, which has its own bathroom, its own kitchen, its own bedroom, fucking living room. There's a pool table, a huge TV in it. She was like, you can just live down here. And then I was like,
free?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was like, what? I was like, I like was like, wait, I thought like you were gonna put me over. She was like, no, like, she was like, you're like family. And I was like, whoa. And then, yeah, put me down there, and I moved in maybe like 2 months before school started. So it was August, moved in like July. And I was working at the restaurant, which is like 4 blocks, like 4 houses down. So I literally just walked like less than 2 minutes. It was perfect. And I was there for like a year, and it was so weird because they were so nice, and they were so like helpful, and they treated me like family, and I didn't understand why. Like I really didn't, because even my own family didn't treat me that well. And I was like, what? Like I don't get it. Like it makes no sense. I remember to this day crying when she told me that I could live there, because it was gonna be the first time that I had my own room.
Right.
And it was a crazy experience. I went down there, and like they still had all the furniture set up and shit. And I went down there, and I was like, I'm gonna have my own space. Like there's literally no one there, and there was the crazy shit that it was unimaginable. Like to me, it was a whole new world.
Right.
Like the first 3 months sleeping there was insane. It was just so crazy. I was like, why is it? Like, it's like so dark and so quiet. And nowadays it's like that's what it's supposed to be like.
Right.
But I was just sleeping, and I was like, this is insane. Like this is crazy. Like, and I had wanted to move out before then, like a year ago. I was gonna move in with a friend from high school, and I told my mom that I wanted to move out, and she was like not with it. But I wasn't doing it for like college or anything. I was just doing it just because I want to live there anymore. Right. But this second time around, I told her again, and I was like, this is gonna happen because it's for school. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't like, as much as like they may not be happy about it, it's better for everyone in the long run. And it was, because the fact that I moved out meant that my younger sister could move out. Like, you know, when it came to that time, she didn't feel like she was trapped in there.
Right. She had an example.
Yeah, exactly. So I moved out. It was crazy living on my own. Ate like shit, because that's what a fucking 19-year-old does when you just live from alone. I mean, they helped me out so much. Like, I can't even begin to explain. But the fact that they gave my family housing all the way up until I was like, 9, and then we kind of lost touch for like 5-7 years, and then I ended up working there just for them to give me housing again in 2016. Like, what if I had never met them when we came to the country? Right. Like, yeah, you know, and it's like a lot of the things like that kind of made me realize, like, there's something. I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of like higher, like, purpose or being or something spiritual. Like there's something like there's something more than what meets the eye. Because logically this doesn't make sense. Like, why did I just happen to meet these people, then happen to work at the restaurant just so that I can connect with them, just so I could then have my own space to go to college, so I can graduate? And it's like everything lined up so perfectly.
Something bigger at play here.
Yeah, and that's just I still believe that to this day. Like, even with Equinox, I met Sean at a college fair, at a career fair at college that I kind of didn't even want to go to. And then another friend of mine was going. She was like, "You should come." And I was like, "You know what? Like, fuck it, I'll go. Like, what's the worst that could happen?" And I went, got his card, kept it in my car for like 2 months, and then this was like April, May, June. I probably hit on like June. Not like maybe like May. Yeah, maybe like late May. Yeah, like late May. That's when I graduated. He was like, because he was like, just like, you know, hit me up when you graduate. And late May, I emailed him, and then he was like, "Yeah, we can try an interview for like next week or some shit like that." And then like after my interview, like 2 weeks later, we were doing EFTI.
Right.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like that, like the way these things unfold is so insane, and I don't understand why. Like sometimes, you know, like, so I'm always like taking every opportunity that I have, because things always, firmly believe that things always work out in the end. I have no scientific data or reasoning to back that up, but I know for sure that everyone is placed in challenges that they are meant to be able to handle. There is not a doubt in my mind that every struggle everyone is currently facing is for the purpose of self-growth or realization or for a greater purpose in the world. I don't think that shit happens just to happen.
What's is there anything underlying that belief, like a religious belief? What's the basis for
my own anecdotal experience?
Okay, just your experience in life.
That's it. Like there's nothing. I don't believe in the personification of God. I don't believe that it was a white man, or I don't believe it was like whatever you can imagine. I don't believe that it can be visualized or pictured.
But based on the experiences you had, you believe there's something
I believe there is something bigger
going on.
There's no, like, statistically speaking, the chances of all these things panning out this perfectly are damn near impossible.
Okay.
And like that's just truth. Like the amount of ways things could have went left. Like I could have got kidnapped on my way to this country and been, like you said, like a victim of child trafficking, right? Been sold to fucking different countries, but I've never like seen anything. And the fact that didn't happen, the fact that I connected with these people, the fact that these people then like came full circle to help me again, like things are rolling out, things are happening, and it's almost too perfect. So that kind of like motivates me, and like, yo, like I clearly need to keep on the path because something like this path is leading somewhere. I don't know where, but it's leading somewhere.
Where? Do you have any idea where it would lead? Do you feel like you're in control of this car you're driving down the path? Would you have to steer it in a certain direction?
It's both. Like I'm presented with opportunities, like, you know, left and right, and you're like, okay, which one do you want to pick? And I'm like, you know, I kind of like, I don't know, it depends, but like for example, the 16 hour $1 job, whatever, the other opportunity that I was talking about was at a physical therapy office.
Okay,
and originally they wanted me to be a personal trainer for the clinic because a lot of the patients that got discharged weren't ready to go to like a regular gym. Mm-hmm. They were discharged, they weren't in pain anymore, but functionally, capably, they weren't ready yet to go train at a regular gym. So I was supposed to bridge that gap with the assistance of therapists who had been working with them forever. I was going to manage this, create this, and be like the head of this thing. And they ended up not wanting to move forward with it. So they offered me this other position. And I was like, do I do this, that I know these people, I'm secure and safe, or do I attempt to get a career at Equinox, whatever that means? Like, and I was like, I looked up at Equinox and I looked up like how much membership cost, and it was like $200. And I was like, that's pretty steep. I was like, okay. I was like, so it's clearly expensive. It's clearly bougie. I was like, dude, like, I hated working in a physical therapy office. I quit. This is the first job I ever quit from.
Were you working at it in school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had because the restaurant closed down. I forgot to, the restaurant closed down March of this year? Yeah, it was this year. They closed down March of this year.
Okay.
And I had to find another job. And then I was doing kinesiology and everyone was like, oh, physical therapy, like that's what we do. Like I was like, all right, cool, like let me go work at an office. Worked at an office, minimum wage, and I hated everything. Like it was cool for like the first month when I was learning everything, the exercises, the scope, the ideas behind the practice, and kind of like what they did and how everything was managed. And I was like, that's like fascinating. Then after a month, after like shit stopped being new and became repetitive, I was bored out of my fucking mind, and I hated it. I literally fucking hated it to the point where I quit. And I had never quit ever in my life. And I quit, and I was like, if I quit now, I'm gonna still graduate college, but because I'm gonna be living off my credit cards.
Right.
And I was like, am I willing to live off my credit cards and stop working at the job that I hate so much, but then also allow myself more time and freedom to get better at school? And then I was like, I don't think that I can put a price on that. And I was like, yes, I'll do it. So that's why I have all the credit card debt.
Because your last 2 months of college, you were living
I wasn't working.
Right.
And then it's crazy because to me that's like a, you know, I don't even know how to just, like that. That's like a plus, like a benefit. It's something that's not normal. Basically, is what I'm saying. For other kids, like they don't work at all while they go through school, through college. They don't work. And so the last semester and a half, from like March to May, I was able to from February to May or whatever. I was able to like expand socially, like actually hang out with people, do college shit, like going getting drunk on certain days, sticking around, doing homework late. Like I was able to do so many things because I wasn't working with this shit job that I have no regrets of quitting because I hated it. So it was like, go back to that, you know, for a higher amount of money. Now from 12 to 16, which I was like, 16 is like, it's going to be the most I've ever made in my life. Or like delve into this entire brand new thing, which could be amazing and phenomenal. And I was like, fuck it, do this. Because I was also wanting to do personal training. And I've been in the gym forever, and I was like, I could definitely do this shit. Like, I had my certification already before I even
You did?
Yeah.
Why'd you decide to get your...
It was more of just like a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, can I do this shit? I went to go take the test, and I was like, I finished the test in like 10, 15 minutes, and it was supposed to be for like an hour, 2 hour long like test, and I was like, is this fucking it? I was like, this is what you allow people to train? I was like, what? I was like, yo, this is some bullshit.
Did you ever think you'd be a personal?
No,
did you take
I didn't think I was.
No,
I took it and I was like, that's like, I just wanted to do it. Yeah, and like people around me were getting it, and I was like, oh, that's
you're still going to the gym regularly.
Yeah, I was still going to the gym, and I was like, yo, like I want to do that shit. Like that sounds like so much fun, you know. It was like an extra like online course module thing. It was like an extra like course, and it was like that's so much fun. And I paid it with my credit card, $700 for the CPT. With no plans of actually like using it for the terms of like employment, and after I finished it, I was like, okay, cool, I have it now. Like I was like, but I'm not like ready to be a personal trainer yet. Like I know there's areas that I need to work or improve on, and that's like a common theme in my life where it's like I'm not ready for it yet. Like, you know, I wasn't ready to go back to the University of Maryland. I wasn't ready to move out. I wasn't ready to. And honestly, all it is just me holding myself back because things aren't perfect, in my opinion. But there never is a perfect.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I do that all the time as well.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
So,
did you feel like you were ready to be a personal trainer when you took the Equinox job? Do you feel like you're ready to be a personal trainer now?
When I applied to Equinox, I think during the EFTI... I think EFTI in the summer solidified my belief that I could be an amazing personal trainer.
Okay.
Because a lot of the curriculum, a lot of the things we discussed, to me, was like second nature. It's like, boom, like, you know, it's like, these are the principles of programming. I'm like, this fucking makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, this is very, like natural to me. I wasn't, like, struggling to wrap my head around any of these concepts. And plus, with the education I just received from University of Maryland, I was like, I can take these concepts you guys are showing me and take them to another level. You know, a level of specificity and detail that for some people is like not even doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, like this can definitely work. But I knew for sure, like the one thing I knew at the beginning of this was I needed to grow as a character. Like, and I say character specifically because I mean like qualities. Like, what about me is going to like draw people to me? Like, because I could have easily remained a robot, but like, you know, I would have, people that I worked with would have been amazing, but then people that I didn't work with wouldn't have known about me. So it was like, I have to find my niche. I have to find a space where I'm comfortable, and I have to find what describes me, what I want to be, and like, you know, all that stuff. So it was kind of like I was studying. Over all those months, I was studying all the people. I was like all you guys. I was studying all the professors and teachers we had, master instructors. I was studying Josh. I was studying Rachel. I was studying Sean, and I was analyzing all the characteristics and traits that they exhibited, and the responsibilities and positions that they held. And that really kind of like allowed me to kind of get into it, because I knew that I lacked personality, right? I don't even know if I have or don't, but I just lacked the ability to express myself and kind of be human and have those human relationships, because it's not something that I practice. I don't give a fuck about that.
You're also 22. I mean, this is your fresh out of college. You're a kid still.
Yeah. So I studied all.
You carry yourself in a very mature way. You carry yourself like far beyond mature beyond 22, but
it's
you
all
may not feel that way.
Studying these people,
right?
So I studied Josh. I studied every word that came out of his mouth. And I'm serious. Like when I say this, like his word choices, the way he moved, the way he spoke, the way he looked at people, the way he made people feel, and kind of all that stuff. And I soaked it up, because Rachel got introduced to us like way back, like later. So I didn't really know about her. But Josh, like, would always stay there and like just soak it all up, because I was like, if I'm going to be successful in this, I need to have the personality that allows you to be to that level. Because there's, like they said before, there's trainers that have no fucking clue what they're doing, but because they're amazing people to be around and fun and whatever, like they have good relationships with these people, they'll pay them a whole bunch of money. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is very true. I may not have that level of a personality, but I also have a ton of this education. If I can just get a little bit of that, mix it with this, I can do something. Mm-hmm. And that was my plan the entire time. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did.
You feel like you're executing that plan?
I think so.
You're still it's crazy you're only 2 months into the job, really. Like, isn't it October, November?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying this process thus far?
I'm enjoying it. It's always a growth process. Some like interesting, like, I don't have a lot of the experience that many people there have, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
Like, you are doing good.
I was like,
you're doing really good.
Top 5, 22, fresh out of college, never trained before, got a certification just for the fun of it. Now working with all these people, at a higher level.
It's really top 3, because the top 2 are grandfathered in from previously.
Yeah, you could say that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, everything's been crazy. But yeah, so I moved out of my parents' house, and my parents stayed living together for another couple of years.
Yeah. So
2017, and then my parents stayed together living for another couple of years. And once I graduated UMD, I was able to get my mom to join the Mary House program as well. So she lives down the street from me, and that's when she moved out. My dad kind of also then had to move out, because he wasn't going to pay the apartment complex on his own. So he was like, I'm going to go find somewhere else. And he lived in Beltsville. He still lives in Beltsville. But he, so my mom's my sister lived with her for a while. Then she moved in with her boyfriend. They live in Greenbelt. Also, fun fact, my sister is using my 2011 MacBook Pro that the high school gave me back in 2011 when I started 9th grade. I bought this for myself in 2016, I'm on a credit card, and I paid it all off. It was like $70 a month or something like that. I paid it off working at a physical therapy job that I hated. But she's still using my 2011 one. So I went on Costco.com yesterday, and they had MacBook Airs for $800. I bought one, and I'm going to give it to her. She's still using the 2011 one.
You're just going to give it to her?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Just like a gift?
Yeah.
Wow. Why?
Because I know how much having a lack of equipment and like things like that can limit your success in school and make things so much harder.
This is your younger sister?
Yeah. Like she wants to do criminal justice major. She's wrapping up her associates at Prince George's Community College. So then she wants to move into criminal justice, probably here in DC. She wants to go to Howard. So I'm like, you need this even now, because like her like this laptop is just it's old. It's shit, it's like 2011. Like I the reason I bought a new one is because it was shit.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have bought another one if it had been perfectly working, you know. So like the fact that she's still using it, and I'm like, yeah, that's insane. Like,
damn, Jose, what a good brother you are, man.
Dude, but it's like, you know, it's crazy because I'm like, the only reason, and this is a big struggle that I like something that I've realized for myself in my life is that I am very compassionate when it comes to things that I understand. I understand that struggle that she's in because I've been there, so it's like makes sense to me. But it's hard for me to be compassionate in situations or to people or things that I don't understand. And I'm working to be better at that because I want to be compassionate all the time, regardless of you explaining your situation or yourself to me, because that requires a ton of vulnerability. Like if someone like comes to me and like, look, like, can you just cut me some slack or whatever? I'm like, why should I? Like, you know, like, I don't know, just like, people shouldn't have to explain themselves to me to get compassion. I feel like is what I want, but that's not the reality of it. And it's messed, and that's I don't know where it stems from, but it's messed with a lot of my relationships. Like I guess just like romantic. Like there was this girl I was talking to over the summer. It ended very badly. Not in like
tell us about it,
dude. I know. We were working at the same job. We were doing like this dog walking shit or whatever. She was very intelligent. She's like my age. She's very intelligent, which is one of the main attractive features for me and like in women. It's like if you're not a fucking retard, like you can have something going. Like just don't be fucking retarded. Have some sort of common sense and to be able to like manage things. You know, be independent. Like you know, like I like that shit. So yeah, it was cool. You know, we started hanging out. We just like feeling each other. She came over like my place like a couple times because we do like parties and stuff. Like when Bill and Sharon left, we would do like parties at the house. Yeah, so she came over a couple times. You know, we chill, and yeah, I mean, we're never like official, but I definitely. And this is another thing about me is I'm an extremist and I sometimes don't like it, but sometimes it's very good. Like when it comes to like work and goal accomplishing, it's amazing because I won't settle unless I've accomplished the goal. And that's a very good trait to have, very resilient. But for her, I debated for a while, like, and a while was like probably a month or so, like if I wanted to allow myself to be emotionally vulnerable or not. And she was super cool, like, she was very empathetic and understanding, and yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I fucking, I completely lost myself. Like once I decided that, like, yeah, like I was gonna allow myself to like actually feel this thing through, I lost myself, and I don't know necessarily. Well, okay, so the main thing was she was like still working through old shit, right? My last relationship was back in 10th grade in high school on purpose. Like 6 years had gone by because I wanted to analyze and understand the reason why this shit didn't work out. You know, because I was like, I don't want to perpetuate this thing if it's like some sort of, it's the way I perceive or the way I understand things, you know, because we're all fucked up from our childhood. So 6 years had gone by, and then I was like, yo, like this girl is amazing. Like she's intelligent. She's fucking gorgeous. Like she's very understanding. We were able to have high level conversations, and when we hung out, it was so much fun. Like, you know, and we started hanging out like all the fucking time. Like, you know, we were never official, but we eventually got to talking like about like relationship and stuff. And she was like, she wasn't interested in like a monogamous thing. She wanted to be what's called, like, she called it like polyamorous. I had never heard of it until her, but apparently it's like a thing. And I mean, I can see it fitting, cause she's kind of very like, I don't know, just like loving in general. Like there's no restrictions on her love, which is like kind of fascinating to me, that you can just exude that. Cause to me, it's like, it's very like stored away. Like not.
How old is she?
She's my age. She's like 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she's went through some shit herself, and that was cool. You know, we all get to discuss all of our shit and our childhood traumas and stuff. It was so much fun. But yeah, like I mean, like
you're not down for that situation.
I mean, I like, yeah, I'm not. I'm like very. I don't want to say like antisocial, but my social battery is very like small. Like I can't maintain relationships with many people or many friends, many family. Like it's very difficult to keep up with a lot of people, and like that's what she like wanted. And I was like, dude, like I can't like do that. But I was so invested at that point. Like by the time I found that out, I had already decided that I was invested in. I don't even know what. I just wanted to, like, I don't know. I just really liked her. I really liked her, and yeah, I mean, there was tons of like romantic chemistry, sexual chemistry. Like we were very mentally attracted to each other, but it just fucking like that was the root of it. And yeah, I mean, she just went downhill. Like this is fucking retarded. I told her that I loved her.
That's not retarded.
It is though, because there was no like, I don't know. There was no like plan. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I didn't think it through. It just happened. It just happened.
That's all supposed to happen.
Dude, I know, but like, as I said, like I hate being caught off guard and everything. Like it just happened, and it was like, I don't know. I guess it wasn't a good week for her. Like a lot of shit had been going down, and like the last thing she wanted was more stress, and that's kind of what that did, was just apply more stress. I mean, once we like figured out that like we weren't gonna date or like kind of thing, things became kind of weird and like
too much emotional pressure.
It was just too much. Yeah, like a lot of emotions have been like put out there, and now it's like I don't know, like. So
yeah, but it has reached that point. I mean, I think that's honestly, I think is always the best course. Open communication. There's a limit. Like you don't want to be like emotionally vomiting all the time your feelings, but in that situation, if y'all been hanging out even irregularly but consistently, then you need to let her know how you feel. She's got to know.
Yeah,
but if she's not down,
that's what I felt, and like I did, and you know, we I don't know. But yeah, I mean, she, things went pretty left. Like, I hadn't cried in forever until like this summer. I cried a lot. Like, I was very hurt. I still kind of am. I kind of forget about it because it's like, it's a thing of the past, but we definitely don't communicate like as much as we used to, or like hang out as much as we used to. We're both super busy now, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, you know, shit just like, shit's just weird now. But yeah, like I don't know. Communication became very difficult. That situation became very difficult. Hanging out became very difficult. Like everything was just so like weird and difficult. And all that went to shit the week before Equinox opened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like late September?
Yeah.
Okay.
All that went to shit the week before Equinox opened. The entire, like, after I told her I loved her, which was the weekend before Equinox opened, she was like, I don't know, like, I think she just didn't know how to handle it, or like, just whatever. Like, there's a lot of shit going on. Like, she blocked me for a week. And like, I had no idea what was going on. You know, we had been talking, hanging out forever, and it's all of a sudden it's like stops, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm like asking myself, like, I'm telling myself, like, how could I be so stupid to actually believe that she liked me, or that like this was ever going to be a thing? You know, kind of like all these like self-doubt things. And then the Monday and the Tuesday, because we opened on like a Wednesday, right? Thursday, something like that. The Monday and the Tuesday, I literally spent all day. Because I finished the job on like, I think Monday was my last day of the job. So like Tuesday and Wednesday, I literally spent all day in the house just crying.
Right before the job started?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Just crying. Like, that's just all I did.
Damn.
I was so torn. Like, yeah. yeah, like it really just fucked me up. Like I was like, because I was like, how could I be so stupid? Like after 6 years of emotionally like holding myself back, like having this happen, and then it just go to shit. It was like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like it just, yeah. And I like to think that I'm over it, but I'm definitely not.
You're definitely not over after 2 months,
dude. It's so like it's still there.
It's gonna take, I'd probably say 6 to 12.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude, these are painful lessons. I've been there probably 5 to 7 times, where it's like you think this is something, and you think this is headed in one direction, and hopefully ends up not heading in that direction. And then, yeah, man, it's like having a best friend that just disappears. And that's the interesting part about romantic relationships, or the unfortunate part about romantic relationships. It's a best friend, but when you and that best friend, for whatever reason, all of a sudden are not on the same page, you can no longer have your best friend.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's super painful.
Fucked up.
That would never happen with
just regular
your romantic best friend. Like my best friend right now, among my best friends, the guy I live with, he's, among my best friends. And I can, like, it would take some sort of insane situation for us to reach a point where it's like, hey man, we're not going to hang out or talk anymore. Like, it would have to be something super serious, right? Not just like me telling him, hey man, I want to let you know, like, I love you, bro. Like, you are one of my best friends I've ever had. I don't know if I've ever had a best friend as good as you.
Yeah.
And then him being like, whoa, man, I don't know. Like, I really like you a lot as a best friend, but I don't know if you're my favorite best friend ever. Like, that wouldn't end our relationship, right? But romantic relationships are like that. And it's fuck, man. Yeah, I know what you mean. It seems very unfair.
Yeah, it was, but, I mean, I took my time, cried a lot. On the first, like, week here was insanely difficult because I was dealing with that stress and dealing with this whole new club stress. Like, this is what I have been prepping for the entire summer. I had talked with her extensively about how I wanted to, like, how my goals about this place, like, how I was going to be, like, one of the youngest there. Like, I had no experience, and it's all these people and all this money, and, like, I had to get to full-time because, like, that's one of the goals. It's crazy because I haven't even, like, told her that I hit full-time. And I think it's a very big, like, because I've been talking to her about it for, like, the last fucking 2 months.
Right.
It's like, this is what I want. Like, this is a goal that I have. And I was like, I thought it was going to take me until next year to do it. Mm-hmm. I had given myself this goal to the end of this year. And it happened way sooner.
2 months, right?
Yeah.
Not even.
And I can't share that.
You can't share that with her.
It's like, it's empty. So
you have to do it for yourself, man. I don't have any, like, comfort for you in that sense. I know exactly what you mean. I know that exact feeling, dude, where, like, you've invested, be it a goal or an occurrence or some sort of shared experience, and it's tied up in someone else or a relationship, and then it occurs and you're experiencing it by yourself, and it's like, oh fuck, what happened to the half of the investment in this pursuit or whatever? I know exactly the feeling, man. You just have to. I don't know if this is. I'm still figuring these things out for myself. Obviously, I think we always are. But it's like, I think. I don't want to say this in, like, a nihilistic way, but it's like your own self-fulfillment always has to be the driving force. You have to be, and then I don't think we ever get to a point like we're totally self-fulfilled and self-actualized. But I think we need to focus on making sure that we are good, we are fulfilled and satisfied first ourselves, without anyone else. And then if we can hopefully reach some point of relative stability, then be able to share that with people we love.
Yeah.
And then romantically, it's just, this is part of the growing process, right? Especially at 22, like, this is where you learn, like,
I know
how intense love is, like, how potentially painful, and, like, there's an upside, but there's a downside, and you have to feel what you're feeling, what you've been feeling over the last 2 months to, like, truly appreciate it and, like, respect it for what it is.
Yeah, and
it's shitty fucking experience.
I knew that going into it. I told myself, I was like, this is going to go one of two ways: either amazing or really shitty. And I was like, honestly, if it goes really shitty, I'll be okay with that. I'll be okay with the fact that I actually allowed myself to partake in this experience.
Right.
So I'm not like upset about it. You know, I'm like, it is what it is. It's just the way it unraveled. But the one thing it did make me realize is that for my definition of love is just like no boundaries, access to me, which is kind of, it's kind of fucked up. But that's kind of, I think, because of, well, just more recent, this is literally very recent, maybe like a week or so. What I've come to understand is that I feel like that's because that's how I was raised. Like the way I showed my parents that I cared about them was to place no boundaries of access to me as a person. That way I can help them in the most efficient way. Right? But that meant I had no time to myself. Nothing was mine. Like there was no ending of me and beginning of them. And when I begin to, like, for example, in this relationship, like when I decided I wanted to go all in, it was like all the boundaries were gone. Like it was like, dude,
this is. I understand. I'm about to express a concept that I know to be an absolute truth of romantic relationships. I don't know exactly how to manifest this concept or navigate this concept, but it is just a law of romanticism. Dude, you can't. Once again, I don't want it to sound fucked up, but this is how it is. Especially when you're in like that dating, feeling out process, I think it's totally different once you've fully committed you've both mutually committed yourself to like a life partnership, right? I think then you're crossing a bound where it's utter vulnerability, perhaps. But dude, when you're in this like dating process, it's a fucking game, man. And as soon as either party knows that the opposite party is no longer, for lack of a better term, a challenge, it's very common that party loses interest. When you know you have them, when you know it's not like work or a pursuit anymore, it's so common. It's like this psychological phenomenon that other party loses interest. I've been through that. There's a girl here in DC who is a huge reason, part of the reason I moved back here to DC 6 months ago, and there's a big reason why I'm leaving now again, because we're just not on the same page right now. But our relationship over the past 4 or 5 years has just been this constant cycle back and forth of like the ball's in whose court.
Yeah.
Like whose interest is waning and da. And so it sounds to me like, it's kind of happened. You out of nowhere, you kind of opened yourself up totally to this girl, and she's like, whoa. Yeah. Like now I have him.
Yeah.
Like now my interest is now waned, and then on top of that, she's a young kid at 22.
Of course.
And she now probably feels the emotional responsibility of love
definitely.
too.
So like I said, like there's no hard feelings, but I learned that that's something that I do and I don't want to.
Right.
So that's why I know like therapy is definitely something I should go through with. Boundaries has become something that I've more recently, maybe like 2 or 3 days, started to become obsessed with, and kind of just understanding where I draw the boundaries for like between me and work, me and people, me and family, me and like all that stuff. Because like you said, at the end of the day, like you're still your own person and you have to do things for yourself. But like living, I don't know, like at some point, like biologically you want to like have some sort of partnership or just not be alone, because humans, we're social creatures.
What do you envision like going forward? What first personally, like would you like to have a family, have kids at some point?
Then this is the crazy shit, because I told myself that I didn't want to get married, I didn't want to date, I didn't want to do anything like except just strictly accomplish my goals. And then this girl came and completely flipped everything for me.
So now 2 months later, still in the aftermath.
And the thing is, I'm like reverting back to that, which is like I'm just gonna stick to myself.
Fuck it. Yeah.
But I know that like if I don't fix this, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, you have to address it. Yeah.
It's gonna flip everything on its like it's gonna fuck everything. Like she literally came in and fucked everything up. Like the way I thought, perceived, what I thought of myself, what I believed of myself, and not in a bad way, but in a kind of enlightening way. I'm like, yo, you really like turned my entire what I thought the world was upside down.
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, like I thought that was the case, but clearly wasn't. Like, you know, yeah. So I'm definitely working on that. Like, I'm gonna do therapy like when the year begins and I have that insurance. But that's one of the things that I want to work to, and I think it's gonna be very healthy because I'm gonna be able to establish boundaries with my family. Right now, they call me, they text me whenever. Like,
are you like the adult of the family?
What does that mean?
Like, are you the most responsible, mature one?
Yeah.
Kind of the captain of the team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever my mom needs me to do things like for her, like just like pay bills online, she calls me. Whenever my older sister needs me to write up a letter, some sort of document for her, she calls me. Whenever my younger sister needs help with her papers and her things, she calls me. Whenever my dad needs help in whatever fucked up situation he's in because he put himself in, he calls me. So it's like I'm dealing with everybody else's shit, but it's not my shit to deal with, and I've never learned boundaries. I never knew that I had the ability to put boundaries, because that's not something that you're taught, it's like you just do whatever the fuck you're told, and you like, this house isn't yours, anything we buy you isn't yours, like anything that's like fucking game, like I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Now I'm like 22, like living kind of on my own and working at this job, and I'm like, dude, like I didn't take a day off the first 2 weeks the club opened, right? Because if you don't set the boundaries, no one's gonna set them for you. Like no one's gonna tell you like this is healthy. I literally was working 13 days straight and I was dying, and I was like, dude, like you can't keep this up. Like you need to set a day off. And that only came out of the fact that it was necessary. Like it wasn't something that like. It wasn't like I came in thinking like, okay, I'm going to take a day off because I need this for myself. Like, I was like, I need this to make this work. Like, if I don't set this boundary, I'm going to crash and burn. And that was my motivation behind setting the boundary. But I need to get better at life in terms of setting these boundaries. And I'm super young, so like setting boundaries now moving forward is going to be a lot easier than like becoming fucking 30, 40 and then trying to set boundaries in those people that exist in your life. Like that's going to be a completely different like ball game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of become my interest as of late. But
what do you think professionally? Like, how long do you want to stick in this current gig roughly, and what would you like to do long term down the road?
I think I'll probably be here 2 to 5 years. I think 5 years might be my max. 2 probably the minimum. I do want to hit tier 3 curriculum. That's gonna be a piece of fucking cake. I don't know. With that, maybe 3+ when that comes around. Maybe master instructor, and honestly it all depends on the work to fulfillment to income ratio. Like how much work is this, how fulfilling is this, how much am I getting paid? Because like
those are 3 great barometers right there.
Like what I'm saying, like it's gonna be a lot of work and very fulfilling, but if I get paid nothing, then it's like not worth much. If it's a lot of work, it's not that fulfilling, but I get paid a ton, I'm not going to want to do it for a while.
Yeah.
So it has to be all 3. Like it has to be a good enough work to keep me stimulated. It has to be fulfilling, right? So that's something that doesn't just drain me, and it has to compensate me fairly well for me to want to continue to do it.
So beyond this 3 to 5 year period would be potentially personal training. What would you think? Do you perceive yourself in health and wellness, fitness?
I think I want to get a master's in exercise physiology.
Okay, so then along the same
I think I want to go back to school. I think that's my longest term goal right now. I don't have kind of any indication as to what life, and I think on purpose I've allowed myself to loosen up because I've missed out on lots of experiences because I've been so tunnel visioned as to like goal setting. And every time I hit these goals, like every time I got my bachelor's degree, I wasn't even happy. I wasn't even excited. It wasn't like graduating high school. Graduating high school, getting an associate's degree to me was like on top of the fucking world. I go to University of Maryland and graduate, and like I murder these classes that are supposed to be the hardest classes ever. Like top of the fucking class. And I'm doing this shit, and it's all working out. And I'm like, I get it, and I'm like, I invested all this money and all this energy and time and effort, and I fucking knocked it out of the park. But like, I get this, and I'm holding it, and I'm just like, okay, like what's next? Like there wasn't even a moment, not a single moment that I felt content, happy, or satisfied. And that's when I realized that I tend to sometimes allow my ego to take over, because that was a very egotistical thing, but it wasn't a bad thing. Like, what I'm saying, like worst case scenario, I could be in debt with something that I don't even enjoy learning about. So it was like there's some sort of like control there still, but the fact that I wasn't fulfilled at all just shows me that was just a very egotistical move. And I honestly was doing it because of all the challenges. Like, I'm not a citizen. I don't get FAFSA. I applied to a whole bunch of private to bank loan. They didn't approve me because I'm not a citizen. I can't fucking claim Social Security. Like, I have to pay a fucking ton in taxes, and I can't claim these benefits. Like, it was almost like me showing showing society. I don't know whatever. It's like, look, like, you can continue to give me these boundaries and these challenges, but I can still do whatever I want when I want, because that's how dedicated I am. And it was kind of just an expression of that, you know, and going through that and finishing that, seeing my peers in college struggle with a lot of the things that to me was second nature. It was like things just flowing and just like things just, I don't know, like moving. Like, to me, it was like even more of a reason why I feel like I deserve a lot of the shit that many people have that I don't. Initially, I honestly felt like I had to earn it, but I feel like I've set the bar very high, and I now feel like I truly deserve. Like, this is me kind of growing as a person and being able to voice my opinion and speak. Like this is not something that I've done for my life ever. It's like me now, like at Equinox. I deserve this money. I deserve these opportunities. I deserve to be recognized. I deserve to be allowed to practice my skills and my knowledge. These are things that I deserve.
And this is the first time in your life you're having this feeling?
First time.
This is in the last 2 to 3 months?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And I'm like, these are things that I deserve, because no one is going to put in the work like I will. And I do believe that I deserve citizenship. It's not for anybody here to decide, but I firmly believe that I deserve it. Like, there is not a single thing in me that's like, I shouldn't have it.
Yeah, that's preposterous. It doesn't even make sense.
I feel like I've earned it. I feel like I've provided enough to society. I feel like I've impacted so many people. I'm literally just waiting for someone to come to my house and just like give me. Yes. I have no idea. Like,
you passed the test.
Yeah,
you passed the life test. Yeah, these preposterous. If there's any sort of like validation or verification that, like, you know, you're a productive member of this society, this team, it's the most frustrating fucking institution, structural thing there is in existence, in my opinion. The existence of borders between people. You happen to be born in this tiny patch of dirt, and so that and in your case, such a small patch of dirt. Oh my god! Like, you're born within the, you know, these imaginary boundaries, and determines potentially your entire life outcome.
The temporary protected status thing that I have at the moment got extended for another year, but they extended it, I think, with hopes of then canceling it. So they extended it, like, saying, like, all right, we're giving you guys another year to get your shit together so you can leave.
Right.
So
when was the wait? So was this recent?
Yeah, it was recent. So like a month ago, maybe like a month ago, they like put that out there. It was set to expire this upcoming January, so it's moved for another year. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I have no idea what's going to change in this upcoming year. I don't know. I can't imagine getting citizenship, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it happens some way, some shape, or somehow, because like I said, I firmly believe that everything happens right when it needs to happen. Everything is like working out perfectly for me, so I have no reason to feel anxious or scared that this isn't going to work out as well. But I'm not stupid. Like, worst case scenario, I can no longer work at Equinox because it's an organization that only hires people who have documentation. I have to go back to working minimum wage jobs.
You have a Social Security number though, right?
I do, but I don't have like proof of residency or like, right. I'm not legally allowed to work. Right. So like I would just go back to them working. My original plan was just 2 minimum wage jobs, probably some sort of manual labor. You know, find the best thing.
Dude, you have to. If that ever came to that, you'd have to just keep doing what you're doing under the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to stop me, like, in terms of continuing to work towards my like master's and things like that, in terms of education and self-growth, but it would just change the way that I would make income.
Definitely make shit more less convenient.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the pattern. That's the theme here. It's like everything is just made more challenging. And then I have one of two options: either stop wanting it or work harder. And I'm not going to stop wanting what I want because my goals, like, that's the one thing I identify as is a goal, goal setter, achiever. Like just currently this life, it's like I can set any goal and accomplish it, and that's just what I do. Like, I told myself I want to be full time. It's what I did it. I told myself I wanted to like graduate college, and I did it. I told myself I wanted to like do all these things, and I've done it, and time and time again I've proved myself. And it's like, I know that that's something I can do, but it's like, at what point, like, will shit just stop being unreasonably difficult? Like, and there is no end in the near future. Like, it's like I have to fucking marry someone who's a citizen, and I don't want to do that. I really don't. Like, like, if it comes to it, I mean, I guess I'll do it. Like,
but for now, like with you, the goals that you have in line in both the short and medium term, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, shit remains the status quo. There's nothing right now that's going to prevent you from accomplishing your goals. But there's this kind of looming threat always.
Yeah. Things are set for like a whole other year, so that's more than enough time for me to pay back all my student debt, credit card debt, which is my main goal at the moment. I want to get out of debt because debt is not good.
No, it's a person in itself.
So I want to get out of that. So that's gonna happen, but then like my just only concern is like I pay all that shit back. Great. Now I don't owe the banks or anything, but now I have no status. It's like, great, you finished paying them off, but now it doesn't matter. You can't continue with your credit. You can't continue in like jobs and areas of employment that you would reap the benefits of your of your hard work.
Yeah.
Like when I pull up to a minimum wage job, I don't care that I have a bachelor's.
Right.
You have a bachelor's, great. Fucking go take the trash out. Like, the whole reason I was in university, in college, is to fucking be able to work at a higher level and think at a higher level. It's like, I know that there's going to be some leeway when I go places and people are going to see what I'm capable of and able to do, but I've done that so many fucking times. I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah, but you're building and going forward. It's not like there's not regression in this story. The only point where there's even regression wasn't regression, it was just stagnation, was when that period right after high school. Yeah. Right? It's not like you're ever going backwards. So yeah, there's there's the possibility of things not going according to plan, but it's not. Realistically, dude, I couldn't possibly, even if there was some sort of immigration obstacle, I don't envision you going from highly successful at this, in terms of the industry that you're in, kind of the pinnacle of the industry, really, and you're highly successful in that position. Some sort of immigration hiccup is not going to like all of a sudden put you down to digging ditches. You're already establishing yourself within that field, within that realm, within that group of individuals.
Yeah,
I think you're just going to continue to grow and develop skills and develop like you're raising your floor each step.
Yeah, and then that's the plan. I feel like you talk to enough people, you meet, you make enough connections. Sometimes those things come through. But I always like to prepare for the worst case scenario.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the girl thing, right? Like you can't rely on that. You can't, just like you can't rely on the girl as like your sense of emotional fulfillment or whatever. You really, excuse me, at the end of the day, don't want to rely on even the possibilities of equinox. And especially in your case, it really does keep that vulnerability always there, the immigration thing. It's like I can't always count on these external factors, even professionally. Like I need to constantly solidify myself.
And it's crazy. I've told Jeff about it, like Jeff, Megan, Nicole, Josh. I kind of explain my situation to them so they know like what I'm working with. I don't know if they care, per se. Like they're nice people, but it's like I want them to understand my level of success with this context, because it makes it that much more impressive.
Yeah, but once again, dude, you can't count on that.
I know.
You just have to understand
I know, but it's like some chip on my shoulder that I have to just show the world what I'm capable of. In conjunction with that, how challenging that has been to me.
Right.
It's like not for any purpose, not for any specific thing, but it's just a chip on my shoulder, something that I feel like I have to prove.
Right.
And it's not for anything.
Right. But don't expect like a trophy.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not expecting anything. But I want awareness. I think that's what I want.
Yeah, but think about I think listening to your story, it seems like the last time you had that desire would have been like getting the bachelor's degree.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
To keep the chip on your shoulder, to show people I can do this under this context. And then you got it and you said, there's like a feeling of emptiness.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not trying to give you advice, but it seems like, dude, it has to come. The fulfillment has to be your own.
No, I get it.
You have to come to terms with it with yourself.
Which is part of the reason why I think I need therapy.
Totally.
There's ways of thinking and understanding the world and approaching it that aren't the healthiest in the way that I think. But not that it's fucked up, but like as fucked up as all this shit has compiled, it's made me a damn good, like, I don't even know if a worker, like whatever, like it's made me like kind of this machine, and I don't want to get away from it. I don't want to lose it, because this skill an ability that I've been able to develop for just relentlessly accomplishing and grinding and working hard for things that I truly care for is something that is, I feel like it's kind of a superpower. I don't want to lose it. You know, I don't necessarily want like all the baggage and motivation, and like I want to come to terms with all that stuff that created this, but I still want to be able to tap into that when I need to. It's like I almost have to like separate myself from this. I have to kind of create a second identity. Does that make, like I have to separate myself from it so that I'm not it, but I can go to it if I need to.
It being like the grind?
It being, yeah, like this mentality and this ability for me to completely lose myself in something and have nothing else in the world matter besides this goal.
Right. Like
I can do that. And it's like kind of like, which is why like I was willing to go into debt for my bachelor's degree. You know, it's kind of like harming sometimes. Not that I regret it, but like it's very ruthless.
Right.
In terms of people, relationships, money, like whatever. I will, if it's important enough to me, I will sacrifice everything to accomplish this goal. And I don't want to lose that like ability to do that, but I definitely want to like control it and like put in perspective, you know.
Yeah, you said it's like a superpower, right?
Yeah.
And it's like what Fireman says: with greater power comes greater responsibility. It seems like you're starting to recognize you do have the superpower, but perhaps you don't quite have the ability to harness it yet right now.
That's exactly what I think it is.
Yeah, therapy would probably definitely help with that.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason I can't harness it is because I don't understand where it's originating from or how it was created. And all that context and all that knowledge, or kind of working through that, and those having more tools in my toolbox, be able to recognize when I'm acting out of ego versus true interest and passion and love and things that I will naturally grow as a person, as opposed to just perpetuating things that I've already done many times in my life. Like those tools to be able to distinguish those two environments, I think would be very important. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's worth the money, because it's like something that's going to be very efficient. It's like training, right? You can go and fucking spend 10 years of your life learning how to do basic lifts, or you can pay a personal trainer $100 an hour and they'll teach you that shit. I'd rather pay someone. I'm no longer interested in. I already did I did that many times over with my own fitness, with the education system, with the American society, with government. I've done that many times over. I have no interest in repeating that process again. So I will gladly pay someone to help me through this journey. Yeah,
dude, it's I really like the superpower thing. I've recognized that in you from the jump. I mean, it's easy to see during EFTI, during our training, that like you exuded that. You not only exuded the competency of the material that we were studying, but you exuded that I don't know, like the less tangible kind of
the
radiating fire.
It's
energy
fire
within, this kind of glow. And I think that's real. Perhaps we all have it to different degrees, or we develop its capacity
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think like the tricky next step is, well, it's first off developing it. I think we're all capable of developing it, and recognize like, oh shit, existence, life, reality is kind of like clay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
And I can mold the clay.
Yes.
And it's, oh shit, it just takes my effort and my focus to be able to mold the clay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then...
Yes.
But then you have to, once you recognize, okay, I can mold the clay, I can turn it into different shapes, then you have to recognize, like, oh, okay, well, what shape do I want to create? and I feel like I've been stuck in that realm for a few years now, where it's, I think you're coming to terms with these things earlier than I did. You're 22. I probably came to terms, like, started recognizing those things probably in my mid to late 20s. And in my last few years, I've just been kind of just existing with that knowledge. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of at a similar state, I think, actually, in terms of our self-growth. And I'm at that similar path. Okay, what am I going to make out of this ball of clay?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I definitely see that in you, man, which is why I wanted to do this with you. So
Thank you.
You're a special individual. You can tell.
I think back to this thing that I remember where I read it or where I heard it from, but it was like war. It was like tough time creates strong people, right? Strong people create good societies, like safe, right? Mm-hmm. Like calm and like you don't have to worry about things, right? Strong, peaceful society creates weak people.
Yeah.
Right? Then those weak people create shitty times. Then those shitty times create great people, and those great people protect and create weak people. And it's this cycle.
Yeah.
And I was fortunately placed in the part of the cycle where I was placed in the tough times. And I came out a strong person. Because you either come out as a strong person or you don't come out at all.
Right. Yeah.
And I knew that not coming out at all wasn't an option for me.
Right.
So I had to come out as a strong person regardless of whatever that meant. And now my biggest fear is having a family and being that strong person that makes calm, easy times and creates weak people.
That you have...
That I will be that person.
A father to weak children, essentially.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I will create that environment and create that comfort, and that will perpetuate then weak, like non-independent, like dedicated or just like inspired, like non-motivated, like people that are just comfortable with cruising through life.
Do you ever fear that you will become that person, or is your greatest? Do you
that
feel
I will become like a
weak?
Fuck no,
never.
I know that as long as I live, I'm always going to be working towards something. And there's going to be always growth and.
But you're afraid that work will create a comfortable lifestyle.
Yeah.
That will then you will reproduce and create that comfortable lifestyle will create weak people.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, you're thinking way down the road. You're thinking probably on the road than I am at this point.
Yeah, dude. It's like because I know that's the only reason I have this superpower is because I had to create it to overcome all the shit that I've been thrown. So if there's no shit you have to overcome, then there's no reason for you to create. You know, it's like when you go to if you don't work out, if you don't give stress to your muscles, there's no reason for them to grow. So my question is like, how much stress can I apply to these children? To what degree? How do I measure this? How do I program this stress? And how do I program or create or foster this?
Create an artificially
stressful environment to give them the characteristics and things that I think would allow them to be successful and not dependent on my success. And then, have that kind of break that cycle.
Right. Let me ask you, kind of close out. Have you ever seen a therapist, psychiatrist, anything?
No, never.
No. You've never been on medication, anything?
Never.
It's interesting. I think it's important because, as you've expressed, you've gone through some difficult psychological times. But I think it's super important that you pulled yourself out of them yourself without relying on. Probably therapy could have helped you gotten out of it sooner, and therapy maybe would have helped you avoid current
confusion,
emotional downturns.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that you didn't get put on medication or anything at any point, because I know so many people that have. And I think that's a quick fix. It's like steroids, right? It definitely doesn't allow you to develop the musculature, the knowledge base that you actually need for long-term healthy living. Okay, yeah, I just want to ask you that because it seems like that resiliency that you're discussing and alluding to, and the confidence now that you have in yourself, that resiliency is just a part of who you are now.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it was forged during difficult times and having to come out of those difficult times yourself.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Well, thank you for doing this, man. That was fucking awesome. And like I said, you're a special dude, and I wanted to.
Thank you.
It's been awesome meeting you, and I don't know. It's increasingly I recognize, like, you know, special people are kind of few and far between, and so when you meet them, try to hold on to them as much as you can. But I'm about to disappear. But this is just, you know, some way that hopefully, you know, our relationship can last. So
yeah, no, definitely.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm happy.
Anything else to share with the world?
Stop bitching and get your shit done.
That's a great way to end it. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.